Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very glad to see you here in our discussion club. My name is Angelina. I'm a volunteer of American Corner Uсть-Каменогорск. And today we have two very interesting topics, and they are quite vital. So I hope that you will enjoy it. Let's start. It is not a secret for you that over the time of COVID-19 pandemic, a lot has changed in our lives. And of course, these changes had a huge impact on our lives because people weren't able to communicate with their friends, relatives. They had some difficulties in their career life. But there are people who agreed to help others, and they became volunteers, even at these tough times. And today I want you to discuss this interesting topic about volunteering, and I think that we all will get something new from this. So let's start from the question. What can volunteers do during a pandemic, and how can they help our society?
Good day. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear.
Okay. I think that volunteering is very neat stuff in our life during the pandemic because many people have to stay at home, and especially very old people. And they cannot buy some food, some products, and volunteering job may help them to get this stuff, these things. It is at first. So also many people have to buy some drugs, maybe, and have some recipe for them, and also they need volunteering job. They need volunteers. Also, some many medical organizations have to help people in this hard time of pandemic, and we need in maybe psychological help, because it's very hard time for everyone, for every people in our society.
Yes, I agree with you. Thank you. Any other ideas?
Good afternoon. Sorry, I can't turn my camera on, so I hope it's okay if I talk with her. Okay. Well, I noticed that during this pandemic situation, there have been organized some groups of people who help the scholars with their education. As we all know, the first term was quite hard because all students at schools, they had to change the traditional way of education to online one. And it affected the system, the knowledge significantly. And unfortunately, I have to say negatively. So, for example, there have been such organized such groups as Teaching for Heroes. And I think it's really great. It's really great that people are ready to spend their time sharing their knowledge with others who need that.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. Any other answers? Hi, Girim. Do you have something to add? Maybe Redmi. Would you like to answer? Okay, let's go on. So here are some ideas about what can volunteers do during a pandemic time. So they can provide psychological support to other people. They can spread useful information about the virus. They can buy essentials for elderly people who are not able to do this and who are not recommended to leave their homes. They can donate money to people in need, help medical staff, and donate food. So, what do you think about spreading useful information about the virus? Is it important? What do you think?
Yes, it's very important, but of course, we live in at the time when we get a lot of information through the internet, and it's very easy for us. But of course, we have around us many old people who cannot have the internet, have some equipments for getting information through the internet. So spreading useful information about the virus around people, it's very important.
Yes, I agree with you, especially um, for people from some rural areas who don't have maybe good internet connection. Of course, it is very useful for them to know everything about the virus and to know maybe about some changes in the current situation. Yes, right.
Yeah.
So, any other ideas?
Well, I also agree with you. It's really important, but on the other hand, due to the variety of information in the internet, some people may be misled. For example, I know that there has been an argument about the significance of masks. Some people said that it's in vain and you don't have to wear them. But in fact, wearing masks is important, and it also protects you from getting a virus.
Yes, of course. Um, of course, it can have maybe some drawbacks. I mean, using internet and reading these news can be quite harmful because personally, for me, reading this news and thinking about this virus made me feel very anxious. And I think that it can make many people worried about maybe their health. And sometimes it is not so good for us. And I think that it is very important to choose only useful information for you and information that can really help you. It's better not to read about maybe statistics of deaths because it's quite upsetting.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And when there is so many information, you also become anxious. For example, I just deleted all pages with news for some time because I was feeling so sad about the situation and that I can't do anything with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. So now I want you um, to learn maybe to see the examples of people from our country who became volunteers this year and who helped other people overcoming this difficult situation. So in April 2020, UNICEF, together with the National Volunteer Network, launched an online volunteering program, Healthy at Home, in Kazakhstan. The initiative with initiative, which started with only 200 people, has so far drawn around 1,500 motivated young people keen to invest their time, talents, and positive spirits to support other young people across the country. The young volunteers have worked to raise awareness about COVID-19 through online platforms and increase community engagement around important social messages at the local level. Having reached 500,000 people, the UNICEF volunteers have helped to provide information in a number of areas, including mental health support during quarantine, ending violence against children, and online learning. The young volunteers, very importantly, have also helped to bring UNICEF even closer to the people of Kazakhstan. So you see that many young people from our country agreed to maybe to share their experience and to share their positive spirit with other people. And so I want you maybe to think about this problem, like ending violence against children. So why do you think this problem became more important during the time of pandemic? Is it true? And
Yes,
how?
it's true because
Mhm.
yes, because we all people of Kazakhstan watched many episodes of violence against children, especially how to speak насиловать. I don't remember.
So, okay, like some actions of violence.
Yes,
Better to.
sex actions against the little children.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cruel.
Mm-hmm.
It's very big, huge problem in our society, and
Mm-hmm.
it raises during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I think it is connected with. Um, so many people stayed at home for a very long time during the COVID-19. This means that maybe children and their parents they started to spend more time together, and this means that they maybe have some rows and arguments more often, and especially for children from some bad families it can be quite um, it can be very dangerous for them. And I think that yes, this serious problem became more vital because of COVID-19. And how do you think these volunteers could change something? Do you have any ideas?
Um, to be honest, I'm just stuck with ideas. I don't have any idea how, but I know that recently a lot of information on the internet was about domestic violence,
Mm-hmm.
not only against children, but also against women,
Mm-hmm.
for example, wives of some violent people.
Yeah.
And one thing that volunteers did is they spread information about that.
Yeah.
They increased the awareness about the problem, which is also significant, and it also may lead to the change of laws. For example,
Yeah.
they may be like stricter and make more serious punishments for such violence.
Yes.
And Mm, another way, I'm not sure of it, but maybe we are monitoring like some families, but it's not really secure
Mm-hmm.
because they could spread the virus.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Of course, the only thing we can do about changing something in our society globally is to spread information in social media sites and in the internet. And I think it is very important because it is the only way now how to attract other people's attention to some serious problems. So I think volunteers did a great job in this case. So the next example of volunteering is a Russian fund, Old Age is a Joy, which created video volunteering platform for pensioners in nursing homes. Young people stream their lections, read books, and have conversations with elderly people online. It's important for every person to feel support and realize that he is not alone. Many people have already donated money to support this action and also to help nursing homes. So, I think that the problem of feeling alone maybe is the most important for elderly people, especially for elderly people in nursing homes, because they don't have maybe some relatives and friends who can visit them. And these volunteers, they made a great job because they maybe they helped pensioners to improve their mental state and also um, prevent them from feeling lonely. So, what do you think about it?
Yeah.
I think that just
Okay, Aruka, please
no,
speak,
please
please.
you talk. I will speak later.
Um, I think that it's very important for old people because they spend a lot of time without other people,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to mm, mm, um, spend their time to bring them um, some thoughts in their mind to
Mm-hmm.
engage their minds and not to be how to say um, not to be lazy, maybe I don't know how to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, we have to make them to think to um, to do some actions, and
Mm-hmm.
it makes them more healthy,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
not only lonely uh, but more healthy,
Mm-hmm.
and their minds have to work.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Great, great idea. Thank you very much. So, Arujan.
So we we know that all people have to, for example, study foreign languages,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
play chess to engage their mind.
Mm-hmm. Yes. To have some like brain processes
Yes, yes, it's
and to
very
improve
important.
progress. Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you. So, Aruka, would you like to answer?
Uh, yes, I like your idea about this some exercises with older people who are retired. I just bring to my mind a book that I have recently learned, read.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Ikigai. Maybe you've heard of it.
Yes, I've
Um,
heard about it.
yeah, it's about Japanese secrets of long and happy life. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the points that the author paid attention to was learning life, like life long learning.
Mm-hmm.
That we have to keep our brains like working and like make instead of having some habits,
Mm-hmm.
make something new, bring something new to our life, and
Mm-hmm.
learn something. Because instead, or otherwise, we will just degrade, and we will be bored with our lives, and of
Yeah.
course, it won't help us to live longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I love this program, and I'm not sure that we have such programs in our country.
Mm-hmm.
And because unfortunately I have witnessed the loneliness of older people, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm a volunteer myself, and in June I have visited with my friends one old woman.
Mm-hmm.
She is a veteran
Mm-hmm.
of the war, and we
Mm-hmm.
just delivered some supplements to her.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Although she has children who live at our town, she's alone at her home.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband died, and it was really sad to
Mm-hmm.
realize that she has to spend so much time alone in her
Mm-hmm.
house. So um, we spent some time with her, like talking. We had a cup of tea, but most of the time she's alone, and also she doesn't like use social media and
Mm-hmm.
internet, so she's not connected to other people.
Mm-hmm. That's great that you decided to meet her, and that's great that you are a volunteer. So
Thank you.
that's cool.
We were a bit confused at the beginning when
Mm-hmm.
she asked us to come to her home, to her
Mm-hmm.
house. We just thought to deliver her these supplements, but
Mm-hmm.
then we understood that it will be better if we
Yeah.
come.
Yes. Of course. Thank you. Um, any other answers? Do you have something to add?
Um, in addition for that,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say that we are young,
Mm-hmm.
still our brain is young.
Yes.
And one famous cellist who played the cello, who plays the cello, uh, was spoken in any time. Why do you still train your skills playing the instrument? So he answered that he was 90 and
Mm-hmm.
he asked that I will train and it is my progress.
Mm-hmm.
Still, I am in progress. I will be in training the
Yeah.
instrument. The progress
Yes.
is good.
That's a great thought. Yes, I agree with you. Okay, let's go on. So we have some questions now. Would you like to become a volunteer? If so, what would you like to do? So we have already realized that we have one volunteer um, among our participants. So, other participants, would you like to become volunteer?
Uh, I am a volunteer in
Mm-hmm.
Karaganda. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
volunteer of foundation for helping sick children,
Mm-hmm.
heart diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
and we collect money for repairing such children. We stand some boxes at the
Mm-hmm.
shops for collecting money.
Mm-hmm.
We make um, some concerts, some actions for collecting money, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, so it is our way to help them.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So I'm so inspired by your stories. And I think that so little people nowadays really want to become volunteers, or we just don't know
By,
about
by
it.
the way, this year was declared as a year of volunteer by our president.
Yes, yes, that's true. So thank you so much for your answer. Um, any other thoughts, maybe?
You know, in, I just noticed that this year, like instead, we have more people
Mm-hmm.
who are volunteering,
Mm-hmm.
and what I noticed, like unfortunately, some of them are just forced by their schools.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are doing it without enjoying
Mm-hmm.
their time, and they just think maybe about college and university.
Mm-hmm.
um, it became so popular to mention that in the activities section, for example,
Mm-hmm.
on Common App.
Mm-hmm.
So, mm, although I think there are more people volunteering these days,
Mm-hmm.
um, the drawback, like the other hand of this, is that not all of them are really willing to help, and sometimes this may lead even to um, bad consequences that will be even worse than if they didn't not do nothing. Like
Yeah.
it would be better for them to not volunteer at all.
Yes, I agree with you. So, personally, so judging by my own experience, when I started in the 10th grade, I was a president of our school, and I had to go to special organization. It is called like the art house for children, something like that. And there were many people, many young students who were volunteers, and they organized different events for other students, and they had very active life position, and they did it for free, and they were so happy to do this, and they I saw that they were really willing to do it. I think it's great, and I think that governments of all countries should encourage more people to do volunteerism, because it's important, and our society really can something can change in our society if many people would do some little things to support and to help other people. Yeah.
I know that governments do a lot of things for volunteers because um, they declared the special prizes for volunteers every year, and we have some participants who among the volunteers who made to pretend for that prizes. It's very good.
Yes. Okay. So the next question is: do you know any people from your region who helped someone during pandemic? What did they do?
As I said before, now there are some small organizations, groups of mostly teenagers who help with education, the others. And one of them, as I said before, is Teaching for Heroes. So it's just the first example that I can remember. So I think that some people from my region are also in this organization because they have like a lot of volunteers now. And speaking of my own experience, now I am a volunteer of Nobel Fest. It the first and fourth in the period between first and fourth of October. There will be held first Nobel Festival in Central Asia. It will be held online, and I'm just like one of the volunteer of this organization, which is not like hard. I don't have a serious orders. Like huh. I forgot the words. Okay, I'm not doing some serious and difficult job. It's just on distance, and it's related with the spread of the information about this festival. So yes, it's also kind of volunteering work.
Of course. Okay, the next question is, what rules should you follow to keep your safety while volunteering during the pandemic?
Well, if we're talking about offline volunteering, which requires like meeting with other people face to face, then it's basic rules about wearing masks and gloves. So not hugging others, trying to keep distance as much as possible.
Yes, that's right. And also, so when I read information about this, about other group of volunteers from Kazakhstan, I don't remember the name of organization, but it was a kind of volunteers um, who did their job offline. So this means that they meet people face to face. And there was a rule that after 1 week of volunteering, they had to stay at home for 2 weeks. And if they didn't have any symptoms of coronavirus, they were able to continue their volunteering. So it's another important rule. Um, so, any other answers? Okay, the next question. Do you agree that volunteering should be encouraged? Why? Why not?
Of course, volunteering is for free. So, encouragement, what kind of encouragement we can speak about? Of course, not some money, without money, but maybe good words as a thank you for very much for your job, some good words, and what encourage? What else?
So I know that some people believe that volunteering should be encouraged by money. And I remember that I had an argument.
It is not volunteering. It is a real job.
Yes. And I had an argument with my friend who tried to maybe to explain his idea about volunteers being paid. And I told him that it's not a volunteering. Volunteering is a job for free, yeah. And this is maybe the meaning of this job, that you do something without waiting some money and other things from organization and maybe from people, just because you like what you do and just because you want to maybe do something good for other people.
Yes, it's pleasure.
Yeah.
At first, it's pleasure.
Yes. So I have one more question for you. How do you think our world could change if no one volunteer?
I think that it would be much harder to live in our world if no one would volunteer. Because in this case, everyone would like require money for their job, even if it's not like serious. And also, some people volunteer like for experience in their field, in their area. So and not all companies, for example, can pay for the internships, pay
Yeah.
interns for their work, but they need people who will help them with some insignificant work, and
Mm-hmm.
also maybe they want to share their knowledge,
Yeah.
but but they just don't have enough finances for that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, I agree with you. So, who else? Ayolim, would you like to answer? Or Redmi, would you like to share your opinion? Okay. So the next question is, what can hinder the development of volunteering in our country? What do you think?
Maybe our thoughts, mm, of course, the thoughts of our society.
Mm-hmm.
We, in general, people think that every step should be paid, every step in
Mm-hmm.
our life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a hinder of developing the volunteer action,
Mm-hmm.
the most important hinder.
Mm-hmm. So you mean that mostly people are not ready to work to do something for
Yes,
free?
for
Mm-hmm.
free, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, maybe it's so maybe it is connected with the economical situation in country
Yes,
because so for example in Europe there are many people who volunteer and who do some kind of social activities for free, of course. And these people, it's a real pleasure for them to do it because maybe they have a good salary, and maybe because they have good life conditions, and that's why it is not difficult for them to spend their time to help other people. It is not difficult for them to maybe share some energy and some other resources just because they have good life conditions, and volunteering is a kind of hobby for them.
yes, and at the same time, it has become fashionable among the youth
Mm-hmm.
to be volunteering,
Yes.
and it is very great stuff in our life, I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Yes. So, any other ideas about this question? Ruka, do you have something to add?
I can't really think about something.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
hope I won't have such a topic on IELTS exam.
Okay. So, let's go on. What do you know about the Red Cross organization?
I think that it's one of the oldest volunteering organizations in our
Mm-hmm.
country
Mm-hmm.
because I've heard of it even if when I was much younger, like a junior school maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but now I don't really hear about them a lot,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
So, and also as far as I know, they have they work at different countries around the world,
Yes.
and one of them is Kazakhstan.
Yes, right. Okay, thank you. Um, any other answers?
Yes, I know the same, but
Okay.
nothing.
I have some information for you about the Red Cross organization, and now I will read you about it. And at the end, we will have a kind of quiz. So be attentive. So the I. ICRS is an impartial, neutral, and independent organization whose exclusively humanitarian mission is to protect the lives and dignity of victims of war and internal violence and to provide them with assistance. It directs and coordinates the international relief activities conducted by the movement in situations of conflict. It also endeavors to prevent suffering by promoting and strengthening humanitarian law and universal humanitarian principles. So, is it clear for you?
Something like that.
Okay. The Red Cross was founded in 1863 in Switzerland. Its emblem was a red cross on a white background, the inverse of the Swiss flag. The Red Cross roots date to 1859, when businessman Henry Dunant witnessed the bloody aftermath of the Battle of Solferino in Italy, in which there was little medical support for injured soldiers. Dunant went on to advocate for the establishment of national relief organizations made up of trained volunteers who could offer assistance to war-wounded soldiers, regardless of which side of the fighting they were on. Is it clear for you? Maybe you have some questions? Okay. The movement consists of several distinct organizations that are legally independent from each other, but are united within the movement through common basic principles, objectives, symbols, statuses, and governing organizations. The movement's parts are the International Committee of the Red Cross is responsible for protecting life and dignity of the victims of international and internal armed conflicts. The International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies leads and organizes relief assistance missions responding to large-scale emergencies. And National Red Cross and Red Crescent societies exist in nearly every country in the world and takes on additional humanitarian tasks that are not directly defined by international humanitarian law or the mandates of the international movement. In many countries, they are tightly linked to the respective national health care system by providing emergency medical services. So now I want you to answer this question. What year was the Red Cross founded?
I just remember that it was in the 19th century.
Yes, it's right. So, the Red Cross organization appeared in 1863. So, in which country was the Red Cross established originally?
Switzerland.
Yes, right. How did Henry Dunant came up with the idea of creating this movement?
He saw
It
injured
connected.
soldiers.
Yeah,
Okay.
injured soldiers. Yes, it was connected with injured soldiers.
Okay, thank you. So another answer? So yes, you're right. So he saw many injured soldiers um, after um, after war, and he realized that there was no um, maybe no good medical help for these injured people, and then he came up with the idea of organizing this um, organization. Okay, how many parts does it have, and what are they responsible for?
Three parts.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the meaning of these parts?
It's very hard, difficult.
Yeah. I
So,
just remembered one that I think it was the main that generally helped all the injured people,
mm-hmm,
victims of war,
mm-hmm,
who maybe like they served a country in armed forces.
mm-hmm. Yes, so there are three parts of this organization: the International Committee, the International Federation of Red Cross, and National Red Cross and Red Crescent societies. And these organizations are independent, but they are also connected. And so the first part of this organization, it is responsible for protecting people's lives and dignity of victims after some maybe armed conflicts, wars also. The second part of this organization, IFRC, it's help people um, after some maybe disasters. And the third part of it, it's a group of volunteers who do some humanitarian tasks, and they are also volunteers. So, and what does its logo mean?
It's like the Switzerland's flag, same colors, um, but used in other words, like inverse.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the whole logo of this organization, it looks like this. And when I read some information about the meaning of this logo, it was said that every person maybe um, every person has his own meaning for these symbols, and that they don't have any religious meaning. They are just they embody um maybe support and international help to all people in our world. So, do you have any question about the Red Cross organization? Maybe.
No, but it was interesting to know the history of this organization because I have never read it.
Mm-hmm. So um, maybe you know some examples of actions which this organization did in our country. So I know that in Kazakhstan there are many places where special boxes are established, and you can donate money to support the Red Cross, and you can maybe support um, medical staff who help people in Syria and in other places where nowadays people suffer from some armed conflicts.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think there are
Um,
many of them in our
yeah, probably. I just don't like read all the announcements now,
Mhm.
and I think it became more popular to donate via some apps on your
Yes.
phone. It's much more convenient, also, I guess. And nowadays, for example, I prefer using Kaspi and rather than donating boxes. But
Yes.
it's also not safe. Like often in social media, there are some people who lie about the illnesses
Yeah.
of
Yes.
their close ones. So now I check the information uh, before donating. And I know
Yeah.
that we also had a conflict, not conflict, like in our town in Petropavlovsk. I think it was a couple of years ago. Some teenagers or young men, young people, were collecting money, but it was actually not for like volunteering purposes. They just wanted to make money via this way,
For
and
themselves.
it's really awful.
That's awful. Yeah. Yes. Of course, it is very important to check information to be sure that you really donate money to people who really need it. Yes, of course. So I think we are running of time, unfortunately, because we have quite interesting conversation today. So thank you so much for your answers. I hope that it was useful for you. Thank you for your ideas. Thank you also for joining our discussion clubs. Hope that we will see you next week.
We have
Yes,
to.
it was
I hope so.
definitely interesting. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you, Angelina. Bye.
Goodbye.